Welcome back to Digital DNA. You're in the Upstart Startup Zone. My name is Alistair Cameron from Starticus, and I'm chatting with John from Bowsy. John, simple question to start with. What is Bowsy?
Bowsy it's a remote working platform. It connects university students with small businesses through remote work. So the idea is students in their final year are trying to get experience they can put on their CV. Businesses, particularly small businesses, struggle to connect with graduates. They don't get a look in. So by posting simple project work, it could be social media management, it could be to help me with a business plan or a grant, they can get students to help on all sorts of areas of the business. Students get paid, it's remote, and they get experience they can talk to in their CV. And ultimately, the objective is to get students into a job that they really want.
And you mentioned at the start it's a remote work platform.
Yeah.
So is that the angle that you're going for? Staying fair, staying kind of exclusive to remote work, or?
Yeah, the remote part is a very important part of what we're doing. And what we're trying to do is create kind of equal opportunities for all students. So the remote work is a great leveler. So it doesn't matter what university you go to. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you live. It allows you gives you the flexibility to build your work around your studies. And there's a lot of kind of academic research that's showing that part-time work can have a negative impact on students in terms of their academic results. And if they're lucky enough to do something that's related to what they're studying, it actually improves their academic results. So there's a big part of that is remote, and that's very important to give the students those opportunities.
And what's your own background? Like, how have you got into this?
Yeah, well, the motivation was my own daughter. So this started off as a kind of a passion project. Yeah. Me, some other mums and dads, and it was kind of the realization that nothing's changed in the 25 odd years since I left university. And we talked about using our own kind of network to give our own kids, experience while they were in university, doing this kind of work and that kind of work. We then looked at the remote element. So this is pre-COVID when we were doing this. So we looked at remote as being an important part of it. It was a difficult sell at first because you're talking to companies. Well, you're hiring kind of a student, which is an unknown entity. You're using remote work as well, which wasn't proven at that stage. And then everything changed with COVID. And the more I got involved in it, so I was an area marketing director in a FTSE company. I traveled all over the world. I jumped ship around 3 years ago when the passion project took over. And here I am, 3 years later. This has been around now for 3 years, and we're just about to launch in the UK as well.
Amazing. So obviously that's a big challenge launching in the whole of the UK as well. Are you looking at some areas to start with, or?
Yeah, well, we're going to focus on Northern Ireland. I think that's a logical kind of progression for us. We're in early stages talking to some of the universities here, but if the experience in Ireland is anything to go by, it'll be relatively straightforward. Once you get in front of the careers office, you tell them what you're doing. Like, we're trying to help graduates get experience, build a network. The doors fly wide open. So we're beginning that early engagement now. We're taking a similar route to what we did in Ireland. We're focused primarily on small businesses, where there's a very obvious equation for these guys. I can get help flexibly from very smart students. And we're going to build it that way, build our network through Northern Ireland, and then look at England, Scotland, Wales as well, and phase it out.
What about the legals around all this? Obviously, like from an employer or an employee perspective, who is the employer? I'm guessing you're not. You're just providing the platform for that.
So we basically are leveraging the legislative framework around the freelance market. So these students are technically freelancers, and there's a lot of advantages of that, for students and for companies. I mean, particularly students have a tax-free allowance that normally they don't use, whereas professional freelancers will hit that and you get into tax and everything else. So for most students, the freelancer means that, it minimizes their tax burden, they can expense stuff, it's completely flexible. The small business, on the other hand, I don't have to worry about employer contributions, I don't have to worry about contracts, I can engage the student for 4 hours or 4 months. So that's the kind of the legislative framework, and when we've looked at there's huge similarities obviously between the UK and Ireland in terms of the legal framework. It's reasonably similar as well in parts of Europe and other countries as well. So that gives a lot of advantages. It just gives the flexibility which both the employer, the small business, and the student can really benefit from.
And the student therefore is invoicing for their time, are they? Is that how they do it, or?
Yeah, so basically all the payments are done through the Bowsy platform.
Yeah.
So the platform is a kind of a one-stop remote working platform from the student selection all the way through to payment. So all the
Amazing.
payments are facilitated by Stripe. The money goes directly via the employer to the students.
Yeah.
So we don't touch the students' money.
Yeah.
We also, for like small tasks or for projects, ask the employer to pay part of it up front.
Yeah.
Because you'll be dealing with thousands of businesses, you want to make sure that it safeguards the students.
Yeah.
And most businesses seem to be very happy with that.
Yeah, totally. So my last question, obviously, to yourself is the monetization of this. Like, how do you charge? Who are you charging, and what's the process there?
Yeah, so it's completely free for students.
Yeah.
You know, we charge the employer 20% on top of what's paid to the students.
Yeah.
So if a student is invoiced for 400 euros, obviously we'll invoice them for 80 euros.
Right.
So that's our model. We're looking at expanding this into more of a subscription service,
Yeah.
you know, where people can buy chunks of hours, you know, for ongoing project work, etc.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's very much in line with what you'll see another platform, except the absolute cost of a student freelancer is significantly lower than a professional freelancer.
Yeah.
You know, so it actually represents some cost savings as well for small businesses.
Brilliant. That wasn't my final question. I should probably add. My final question is, obviously, how have you enjoyed the day at Digital DNA so far?
Yeah, it's been great. It's the first time I've been in Belfast in a while. It's super easy, like 2 hours on the train. Like I should have done it months ago. But we've met loads of people. It's been very interactive. So people have been engaging us all the time.
Yeah.
I've been walking around annoying people as well, asking them questions. So it's been very good in terms of building the network here, talking to other companies. So it's a great experience. It feels a bit more personal than other events that we've gone to. You know.
I've been at a few recently where it just seems that the shine has gone from some of the events.
Yeah.
That it's more sales rather than interactions, which for me is the worst part of events sometimes as well.
Yeah, it is. There's a very positive energy here. People are kind of curious. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, offering to help in this area, or have you met that person? So it's great. Yeah, really enjoying it, and delighted that we're here.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for your time. It's great to have you with us today. Are you coming to the networking thing afterwards?
Yeah,
as well?
we're booked in for that as well, so I'm
Excellent.
looking forward to that.
We'll be exhausted by the end of the day, won't
I'm
we?
already exhausted.
But thank you for your time.